So I gotta admit, Square Enix is probably one of my favorite gaming companies by far. At least it was anyway. Like they have come out with so many great games. Obviously, the initial absorption of SquareSoft and all their original games and bringing Final Fantasy over and whatnot. It's a great like just. It has a lot of nostalgia for me, right? So Square Enix definitely pumps out some great games, and I really enjoy their content. However, unfortunately, it looks like people who are leading Square Enix have really big disconnections between themselves and their fans or the people who are buying their products. I don't really understand what's going on with Square Enix and their leadership, but if you look at this article from good old show Kotaku, it says Square Enix boss disappointed with Forspoken sales, but still excited for NFT games. The Final Fantasy maker played all the greatest hits on a recent earnings call. Now, again, Square Enix, the same company that makes Final Fantasy, it's the same company that unfortunately produced Forspoken, right? Like, obviously, it was made by a separate studio, but that studio has now been absorbed by Square Enix. And the fact of the matter is, you try to pander to the Western audience. That's what Forspoken was, right? Forspoken was Square Enix trying to divvy up and pander to the Western audience and give them what they thought people wanted. And now they have realized that they completely failed on that aspect, and Forspoken is not what people want at all. People want what Square Enix is known for, which is producing fantastic JRPGs or video games in general that don't have a lot of identity politics or the stupid fake Marvel jokes like Forspoken. Forspoken's dialogue was so terrible. I didn't even play the game. I heard all the dialogue I needed to realize that this is just a fake Marvel movie game. Like that's how it sounded. The combat looked pretty cool. Don't get me wrong. It definitely looked pretty active, the parkour and everything like that. But combat's only going to carry you so far. Unfortunately, you do have to listen to the characters, listen to the story, and Forspoken was not it. It just wasn't it. And also, too, they made her absolutely insufferable, which is hilarious to me because, again, they're trying to do the whole diversity thing, and they made her insufferable. They made her literally no character liked her, and nobody who played the game probably liked her either. She was so annoying. She literally hated everybody. It was so sad from what I saw anyway. So it says, stop me if you've heard this one before, but Square Enix is disappointed in the sales of one of its games. Also, the main reason why I was starting off that intro is because you know that you failed pandering to the Western audience, right? Why are you then going to try to triple down on NFTs? If it's even tripling down at this point, I mean, you've quadrupled down, you've quintupled down, like you have done so much doubling down on NFTs, and people keep telling you that's not what we want, man. Like that's not what we want. Why are you focusing on that? And again, it's because it's the same mindset that made them create a game like this, that they wanted to focus on pandering to the Western audience. They got owned for that, and now they're gonna double down and triple down on NFTs, and nobody wants those either. So it's like, what are you doing? It says Tomb Raider, Hitman, Outriders, Guardians of the Galaxy. It's a long list, and Forspoken just got added to it. Current Square Enix president Yosuke Matsuda said during the company's most recent earnings call that sales of the magical realist action RPG were lackluster. On the upside, he said he hopes people will look forward to NFT games launching in the next year. Nobody is going to look forward to this. No, nobody's going to look. Who's going to look forward to an NFT based game, man? I don't know of anybody who wants this shit. No, like I don't even see people on Twitter who are massive shills, mind you. I don't see anybody on Twitter trying to pander to this stuff either. Like nobody wants an NFT game. And again, Square Enix is trying to give us that when we are trying to vehemently tell them we do not want this. Like, why are you giving this to us? It says reviews of Forspoken, which were released on January 24, 2023, have been challenging, Matsuda said in a February 3rd earnings briefing, that translated script of which was only released today. He added that while the parkour and combat in the game were well received and will help the company's development capabilities for other titles, the game isn't selling as much as Square Enix had hoped. Its sales have been lackluster, and while the performance of new titles and March release dates will be the ultimate determinant, we see considerable downside risk to our FY 2022 and 2023 earnings, he said. But then it says elsewhere during the meeting, Matsuda, who is currently set to be replaced after a decade at the helm in June, said HD game sales were down year over year, partly due to not having a new Final Fantasy XIV expansion last year, but also because many of the new small and mid-sized titles we launched this year did not perform as well as we expected. So then why do you keep doubling down on those titles? I don't get it. Why do you keep doing it? Why? Like, you should focus. You should get back to the basics, right? After a couple of failures, you should probably get back to the basics, get back to the drawing board, and realize what made you famous in the first place. What made people love your content in the first place? Final Fantasy 16, I would be very scared for that title if it wasn't for the fact that the same creator and developer who saved Final Fantasy 14 is going into 16. If it wasn't for that, I would be absolutely scared shitless over how Final Fantasy 16 is going to be handled. But since he's in charge, I feel a little bit better. It says, for those keeping track at home, Square Enix released an absurd number of RPGs in the second half of the last year. Here are just a few of them. The Dialfield Chronicle, Valkyr Elysium, which I still haven't played, by the way. I have it, but I still haven't played it. Star Ocean, The Divine Force, Harvestella, Tactics Org Reborn, Dragon Quest Treasures, Crisis Core, Final Fantasy VII Reunion. I'm actually finishing up that game soon. It says Dialfield Chronicle was an intriguing new spin on real-time strategy. Star Ocean 6 was better than expected, but not great. Valkyrie Elysium was an oddly action-based successor to a beloved turn-based series from the PS1 era. Some of the remasters, like Tactics Org, were fantastic. Others, like Chrono Cross, were subpar. Almost none of these games, however, seem set up to succeed, let alone meet expectations due to lack of marketing and sometimes bad marketing or extra developmental resources. It says, when it comes to anything outside Final Fantasy, Square Enix seems hesitant to take big swings or roll out red carpet when it does. And then there are times when it appears to try and will hit a blockbuster into existence, as was the case with Forspoken, which was decent but flawed. And yet this still doesn't seem to have stopped the company from going full steam ahead into crypto shenanigans. And that's where they lose me. That's where they lose me. I will be, you know what? If you want to make the argument, listen, they gotta diversify their portfolio, right? So they have to make their portfolio as wide as possible. They can't just keep relying on Final Fantasy. Obviously, Final Fantasy will always make them a ton of money, whether it's an online Final Fantasy especially or a single player one. They're gonna make money. If they drop a Final Fantasy game, they're gonna make money. But the thing is, they can't keep relying on it. Otherwise, they're just gonna have to rename themselves Final Fantasy, Final Fantasy Enix. Just you're gonna have to get rid of Square Enix and rename yourself, because that's all you're going to be releasing is Final Fantasy products. And it's bad enough that they're already known mainly for Final Fantasy products, but they're trying to diversify out their portfolio. But when they do that, they trip up so bad. They trip up so bad. And now, to make things even worse, you want to jump into the crypto market? you want to jump into the crypto market, one of the most unstable markets that are guaranteed to bankrupt your ass if you have no idea what you're doing, and you want to jump into that? I just don't understand it. It says, while it might seem like the rest of the gaming industry has backed off NFTs, and rightfully so, Square Enix appears fully committed to actually releasing games with them. We have organized our pipeline so that we will have a good spread of new releases in FY 2025 and 23 and beyond as well, Matsuda told investors. We also hope that you will look forward to the blockchain games we plan to launch in 24 and 23 and thereafter. It says Forspoken probably isn't getting a sequel. The studio behind it, Luminous Productions, is now getting absorbed back into the greater Square Enix blob, but maybe its protagonist Frey can appear as an NFT in Crypto Chocobo. Now that's pretty funny. I'm gonna give you that, Kotaku. That was pretty funny. Listen, I don't get it, man. I don't get it. Why are you jumping into NFTs? You are years late when it comes to NFTs. Years late. There's no reason for you to jump in now. That train has already left the station and has been gone and has been derailed and has already crashed off into the distance in the mountains. And you're trying to wait to board on the train now. Like, you're trying to get on the new train now that's never gonna come. Like, I just don't get it, man. Stay away from NFTs, Square Enix, please. If you get into NFTs, you're gonna bankrupt yourselves. And then when that happens, you're just gonna have to become a Final Fantasy farm to try to make your money back, even though that's technically already what you are now. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you did enjoy, and if you did, consider leaving me a subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. Don't forget to like the video, comment, let me know what you thought, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Hypnotic out.